Wednesday. It is the 5th day of May. Let's get straight into it. And today we are lucky to be joined by Kandara Member of Parliament, that is Honorable Alice Wahome. She's going to help us. And of course, we are also going to put her on the spot to explain to us some of the matters affecting the nation. Today, it is a one-lady show and a one-man show. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for finding time to join us. Good morning. It must be a very good morning, and you look so happy. The president is around, and as a female leader of this nation, it must be sending some good signals to you. How about it, Mheshimiwa?
Yeah, thank you, Victor. It is definitely a very important and a bright day for women in Kenya, and especially women leaders, and also those other girls that are looking forward to be in leadership. We have the honor to host Samia Suluhu, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Republic of Tanzania. And it's a very big thing for the region, for the country, and for Africa, because she has earned that place. Unfortunately, she took over after the death of John Pombe Magufuli. And because of how she was positioned, she just rose into power, the top seat. Transition was smooth, very respectable, and Tanzanians are definitely setting the pace, will set the pace for Kenya and Africa. So yes, I am very happy, but I apologize, a little late, but the viewers, I hope I will give them a little more time.
Okay.
So Victor, are we together?
This must be sending a very good signal for the two countries. Having in mind that in the past, the relationship between Kenya and Tanzania were a bit shaky. How do you think this is going to pan out moving forward, Mheshimiwa?
Okay, Victor, there are many women leaders in this country actually who deserved and still deserve to sit on the seat of presidency. And therefore, it also gives encouragement to women leaders, parliamentarians, leaders elsewhere, even professional women must be encouraged today. Now, there has been frosty relationship between our two countries, and I see this as a new beginning. Her Excellency seems to also be excited and putting Kenya on her priority list. I want to think that she also understands how far the relationship had gone. I know John Pombe Magufuli may have wanted possibly a better relationship, but certainly, neighbors sometimes, brothers, sisters, get into conflict. I am thinking that should be her first priority, to ensure that really there is no need for conflict, and that those border issues, trade issues, foreign policy between the two countries could be much better. Yes, 2 days ago when it was announced that she was coming, I received a text, and I don't know from who actually, on my phone, and the gentleman told me he is a truck driver, and he goes to and fro between the two countries for purposes of commercial transportation. And they are saying that they are suffering a lot. They are being made to wait for long hours on queues. They are also being asked for monies by the police. I guess there is bad behavior on that end, just like it is here in Kenya. So there are many issues that needs to be looked at. You remember there was the chicken issue, there was the cow issues. Those things may appear to be small, but unless they are resolved, they become sticky and they get murkier, because other bigger issues could come up. And therefore, for me, I think that is important. But also, we would have hoped that there will be a forum for women leaders. I know we are receiving her in Parliament this afternoon. I am ready for the address by Her Excellency. She's coming at 2 p.m. And the joint sitting of Parliament, we will receive her. And therefore, we also are expecting that she will send a goodwill message to Kenyan women who are in politics, and that she will also maybe give a hint to the country's leadership so that as we go on to elections, we need to see better placement of women leaders in this country. Yes.
Absolutely. And of course, as you've correctly put it, this one is now just like a wake-up call to most women to take up their roles in leadership. Even as we move towards 2022 general election, do you really think that it is just right time for women also to go there and fight for their positions and just get up these roles? You know, it's not easy for everyone, Mheshimiwa.
You know, Victor, it's... I hope that the country is starting to prepare for women leadership sufficiently well. It is not 2022, Victor, it's next year. It's 14 months from now. 14 months is a very short time. Yeah. But you know what? If you look at the way Samia Suluhu has risen to that position, I think there is, yes, time, because what matters is for a magnanimous presidential candidate to pick a woman as the running mate. We do have that position in our constitution. You see, yesterday we were debating the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, which personally I am opposing. I am not saying yes to it because there are so many pitfalls. I suppose we will come to that. But what I'm saying is that either way, as the Constitution sits today, there is a position for a running mate, and we would expect that that position can be filled by women. In fact, the candidates for presidency should be competing as to who will actually be seen to be dressing better in terms of going forward, so that we are talking about gender parity. Of course, you know that normally there could be a political cost. But I don't know how candidates will not see a political gain, because women in this country form about 51 to 52% of the population. Sometimes they go a little below, like 0.1% by way of registered voters because of the challenges that women continue to face. But definitely, Victor, I think it would be good timing for any candidate to try that. And I don't see they wouldn't lose. We would be able to mobilize women in support of that particular candidate. And there is really nothing, there's nothing special. We can handle these challenges. I'm saying we can handle. I see very many women being able to deal with that. From all the ends, from both sides, from all the ends of the divides. I'm looking at, you know, the political scenario, and you know who are the top leaders in terms of competitors, in terms of presidency. And His Excellency the President could also put in a very good, I think we could also see that maybe he is also sending the right signal in terms of women leadership, because he didn't have to host Suluhu. Of course, I think he's interested in patching some of the frosted relationships between the two countries. Of course, you see, also being his second term, His Excellency the President, of course, is seen as a leader in the region and need to set the pace. You know, he need to be proactive in that mending of the relationship, and therefore, but also that he is keen to host a female president. I think it's something that the country shouldn't take lightly. They need to read the right messages and look at the potential there is. And she has started very well. I think it's 100% for women.
Mheshimiwa, somebody's asking that why was Deputy President William Ruto missing in action at State House?
Frankly speaking, Victor, I do not know, and I haven't spoken to him, because I would expect that maybe that question would be answered better by him. I suppose he will, maybe in due course, he might find it necessary or not necessary to answer. I know he is within the country, and the host is His Excellency the President. I think that is untidy. That is untidy, because the Constitution, there is no clue to the Constitution. The Deputy President is the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And if we are building bridges, I think it is time that the President of this country starts, I think, putting better mechanisms in place of engaging everybody. And I wouldn't expect that His Excellency the Deputy President would decline an invitation. You see, there are protocols of that kind of a state visit. You know, it's a state visit. Yeah. And if there is no invitation, I suppose there was no invitation. I want to assume maybe there wasn't any invitation to him, because it would also be bad manners for him to be invited in terms of protocol and not attend. And I see that the Deputy President normally has very good manners. He has deference to His Excellency the President. So if there was no invitation or room for his participation, I think that is, I would mark His Excellency the President as 0 on that score. Maybe on other scores I would give him a good mark, but on that score, I would give him a 0. We are supposed to be building bridges.
All right, we'll dwell about that much later on, and of course, just looking matters protocol as far as that is concerned. But let's talk about today. What should we expect in Parliament?
You see, it doesn't send a good signal to the country, you know, because there are people who would be offended. Kenyans would be, those who support His Excellency the Deputy President, those who support them as a team, because we are still supporting His Excellency the President, would find that very messy and very untidy, and definitely not very encouraging. The country needs to be, the transition, because there is definitely going to be a transition, should be taken care of as early as now. As early as now, because we must avoid any conflict.
All right, we will get into the details of that, Mheshimiwa. But right now, let me ask you, what should we expect in Parliament today? There is a special sitting between the two houses, and of course, President Suluhu is going to address the bicameral house. What should we expect?
Actually, the order paper is very brief. It's very brief. There will be an address to welcome him by the Speaker of the Senate and the Speaker of the National Assembly as soon as we get settled into the House, into the chamber. And then the next is her address. There is no other order, I mean business on the order paper. So we would expect that she will be addressing us, and she must be having a message for the country. It's a very good platform for her to speak to the country. You see, it will be live streaming, and therefore Kenyans would be engaged and would be able to follow what policy, what administration is likely to work on in so far as those two countries are concerned. There are many people with concerns about products coming into the country. Obviously, the truck drivers, people going to and from the two countries, especially for trade. This is a time that of the COVID-19 pandemic, that we must not miss opportunities to facilitate commercial engagement, trade engagement between the two countries, because we need to get off the ground, considering that we're not even over with COVID-19. So we cannot be seen to be wasting time on non-issues, and I suppose that she will be keen to give Kenyans confidence insofar as their movement is concerned. And of course, likewise, the Kenyans and our government has a responsibility towards that.
Mheshimiwa,
I suppose you make a very strong statement. I would expect that you make a very strong statement in terms of women leadership. I have listened to her before. I think she's keen to mentor. She's keen to encourage women leadership. and there would be some strong statement or message along those lines. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mheshimiwa, amongst some of the deals that Kenya and Tanzania have signed is on trade, infrastructure, transport, tourism, culture, and security. How is this going to pan out? Is it now time for Tanzania to stand up and shine under her leadership?
We are yet to, I guess, those are critical aspects of development.
Yes.
And when you talk about culture, when you talk about trade, when you talk about infrastructure, when you talk about tourism, these are big income earners. Mm-hmm. And therefore, for the economy of Tanzania to make a jump, a big jump from where it is, because they are also going through similar challenges like this country, I think she would have to prioritize some of those. I see infrastructure as very facilitative. We talk about road network, we are talking about air transport, we are talking about creating the right political environment without stifling the political environment. I would think that she would be more amiable. Sometimes the late Pombe Magufuli was very, very aggressive and rough and maybe unpredictable. I think her trajectory, looking at how she carries her business, she's quite measured and therefore would be very diplomatic in handling some of those issues. I think her style would be different. Of course, she has promised to rely a lot. I think during her inauguration, she said she will rely a lot on what had been laid down as a foundation by her predecessor. But I think, she would have to carve her own niche so that then her legacy and she can be defined by her own administration targets. There must be major policy, I guess, differences that she will put in place to be able to depart from some of the practices that Tanzania may not benefit from. For example, I would think that the former president, the late president, did not seem to believe that there was COVID-19 pandemic. And he really did not join the fight in all honesty, by action, by acting, but there seems to have been a major change towards accepting to be part of the global teams that are fighting and COVID-19. So those kind of things would definitely be very welcome for Tanzania and for our country. You see, if, for example, we have an attack in Tanzania, there is no way, because of those movements between the two countries, that will not be affected. We'll either close the border, or they will close the border, or we will get infected through those border movements. So and that becomes a challenge, and they should be able to deal with those aspects.
Yeah, and it just slightly over a month after she, took power, she's already visited two countries, Kenya being the second one after Uganda.
Yes. After
exactly.
you see that is very purposeful. I think that is definitely deliberate, because I think the two countries are the most immediate partners by way of the relationship. We are in the East African community, and the three countries are very key to that. I know we are bringing Rwanda and Burundi on board, but you see, if those three countries don't work together as a team, the East Africa Community Corporation would not survive. And therefore, I see that as a calculated move to first ensure that there is good understanding between the three countries before she can march out. She can step out to the other countries. I think that is that's programmatic. I think that is very, very, very intelligent of her. Yeah.
And chances are Tanzania, as she said during her swearing in, you are under the right hands. We are going to steer this country, and moving forward, already, you know, the fight against COVID, she's already formed a committee. She is now going scientific. How is it going to pan out in terms of now bringing Uganda, Tanzanians together in the fight against COVID-19?
Of course, there will be work there. She would have to take up awareness creation. I think they were just living in denial. I don't know. It's, you see, leaders at the level of presidency is a very serious position. I mean, there is no other in terms of it's one, and it's the top leadership, topmost leadership. It sets goals, sets the country on the right path or on the wrong path, and people copy their leaders. They copy their leaders, and they read habits and behavior and conduct, and they get the messages and they apply. I said that that was not the policy before the passing of Magufuli. So there is work there, and they would have to catch up. You know, it's 1 year down the line. I guess we will have to see how that will affect the country in the final run, because obviously countries, after we are over with the COVID pandemic, I guess there will be evaluations and an assessment of the country's, status, so that as we then recover, there will be targeted milestones, and therefore we will see whether that, obviously, that has set them behind other countries, but they will catch up. I think all they need to do is put the right measures. You know, the World Health Organization and other leaders in the country have been communicating and working together. The case for now, even Kenya, we seem to also be lagging behind because we haven't applied ourselves properly, especially in ensuring that the health intervention measures, what equipment, what facilities have we put in our hospitals? How much funding that we have received or set aside has gone to the right use? We have stolen a lot. You have seen these KEMSA scandals, and this is what has come out as of now. We might find that there are other scandals that will be seen. Remember, there was also the case for materials that were donated disappearing. So I'm saying that maybe, I don't think Tanzanians have a bad habit like this country of corruption. So her statement that they are in the right hands is a very welcome statement, because that shows that she's confident of managing the steering of her country. For me, I think that Kenya would be setting the right example, but we have failed. If you go to Victor, people are dying in the country. You can't come to Nairobi either, where it is expected that there will be sufficient facilities. Many times people are calling hospitals and they are told we don't have any beds for admission, for purposes of oxygen, for serious treatment. When you fall sick with COVID-19, you need oxygen. There is no oxygen. There is no ward bed. There is just no. What has happened? And you see, at the county level, the counties are supposed to have been also supported to put same standards. The national government is supposed to be the one setting the standards.
Yes.
Quality assurance and standards still remains a function of the national government. So that if I go to Kisumu, I'll be able to go to a level 4 or whatever other facility that we have agreed is the county facility, and what I find there as a facility is the same facility I'll find in my county, Murang'a, so that I don't have to panic that I'm in Kisumu, I'm not in my county where the facilities could be better. If I go to Mombasa, if I go to Turkana, if I go to Samburu, if I go to Marsabit, the county facilities is something that the national government cannot run away from. I must ensure that the referral hospitals, you know, the Level 5s have the same facilities and standards, because you cannot be able to airlift people to come to Nairobi. And the sense of devolution was that these facilities are available at our counties. Even Nairobi, even Kenyatta doesn't seem to have those facilities. Mutahi will eventually be Minister for Health.
Okay,
and the team that was put together.
Okay, let me ask you this question. So what about the diplomatic ties between the two countries? How is it going to pan out moving forward? Because in the past, it was a bit frosty, so to speak.
Yeah, the last 3 years or 4 years, it has been frosty. I think there is also some sibling rivalry, you know, which is kind of childish. When you look at the size of our countries, you know, we can afford to, there is like sibling rivalry, there is trade competition, you could say it is expected, but when we look at the countries as part of the global village, we need to be seeing the bigger picture, so that foreign policy will also be maybe the propelling tool for purposes of better working relationship. So for me, our Minister for Foreign Affairs has work to do, you know, has work to do, serious work to do. And because the two countries would have to be part of that. And of course must include Uganda in that. The East African community needs to mean something, because we have also invested in it. The cooperation has to be constantly working on that. Things that hold us together. We should put more energy, more funding, and more mechanisms to handle that. But you know, we have seen this has been. You know, the East African community or cooperation is not a 1 year old. We even have an anthem that is combining the Jumuiya, that is for the Jumuiya. I think those are right policies. I guess sometimes we don't speak a lot about the cooperation. I think the community needs to spell out its policies much further and deeper, because an anthem is not sufficient. You know, if you ask Kenyans, they may not, other than the fight, they don't remember what else. You know, there is a lot that is going on, but we're not speaking about that. How is tourism between the two countries working? All those are issues that we need to spell out openly, candidly, and also avoid unnecessary competition.
Yeah. And in terms of political stability in the region, how is, all right, those are live pictures from Serena Hotel. That is Serena Hotel, where President Samia Suluhu is set to address the women in business a few minutes from now, as per the protocol, and people in business. And of course, it's going to be an intense kind of a discussion there. Thereafter, he has just much in his plate today, part of her itinerary, I beg your pardon, on some of the things that she's going to do, and later on she will be addressing the Parliament at 2:30. Mheshimiwa, just at this point, it's going to be happening at Serena. Let me just ask you this question in terms of business, and now she's going to address people in business at Serena. How is it going to now pan out, now that it's business? It's not politics now that she's going to address. Talk about here.
You see her address in the morning on the business angle or from a business perspective.
Yes.
Is supposed to, in my view, is supposed to blend in with her political statements and address in the National Assembly. But even on the floor of the National Assembly, I think she will go across all those issues, because you see, business, all the transactions and government proposals normally come through Parliament for purposes of government business. In fact, Parliament's largest business is government business.
Yes.
You understand? Because, you know, the implementation of all policies by the government is supposed to be, except those which are administrative, supposed to come. And even the administrative ones normally would require statute, you know, support, legislative support. And therefore, I see it's going to be fairly seamless. This will give an indication of what she intends to say on the floor of the House, or how that connects well with her political positions or her political statements. So I guess we cannot, I don't want to preempt much, because again, I don't have an inside information. Safe to say that, you see, I think that you're looking at her working with the country, and the institution of presidency works for the country. May I say that I see the start of the hosting last night without a very major wing of the political setup of this country, the deputy president's absence. We'll start sending sour signals, you know, the wrong signals. People could start dismissing very good things that she will come to say. So I think we need to handle some of these things more maturely. Our domestic fights within or local differences here should not inform our foreign policy. So yes, let's see and wait and hear what she will say.
All right. Talk of foreign policies. Do you really think that the Kenyan foreign policy and the Tanzanian foreign policies are going to be at par? But before you answer that, can you just take a very short break? Then we'll come back with more, even as we talk about Deputy President William Ruto. Let's talk about 2022. Okay. The BBI was in Parliament. Justin Muturi said that, you know what, it's a popular initiative, and here the Senate also has so much to talk about this week. Let's take that short break. We'll be right back with more after this. We are talking with Kandara Member of Parliament, Alice Wahome. We'll be right back after this break.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
No, study so, protect your life if you wanna know.
Them kind of loving, you're not selling a shop. Yeah, are you are the man and the style.
And of all the places that I've ever been,
you know a lion can't live without a lioness. A fire can't start without a lick.
There is no prescription for me. She's the one, the only remedy.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
Oh man, now you want to turn such a beautiful progress into a meaningless fight.
Julia, what are you trying to say? That me and Malu are together. Look at you. You need to apologize. Shame on you to me.
If you want to be part of this conversation, you have to speak in a language we all understand. Siti wewe.
Mimi ni zidi.